Bro, have you ever had a conversation with someone and you come out feeling like your brain was wasting away? At one moment you're full of life, you're happy, and the next moment after this conversation with this individual, you feel like there's a ball and chain weighing you down. It's kind of a weird feeling, isn't it? It feels like your life force has been drained out of you. Let's go, Van Helsing. You've just met an energy vampire. You hang around these type of people long enough, it will take years off your life, and I've done it, so you don't have to. So let me give you an idea what kind of shapes and form these energy vampires come in. So 4 years ago, I used to have a friend, and the guy was constantly operating on low battery mode. His eyes were half closed like this, he spoke very slowly, he didn't have any motivation to do anything, and he was one of my good friends. And every time I ended up talking to him, I felt like I was rotting away on the inside. Now, initially he was a quiet guy, but this kind of person, what stood out to me was that he did not prefer the company of men. He always used to prefer the company of women, which was kind of a weird red flag. Every time he opened his mouth, it used to be about his miserable life, or how some girl cheated on him, or his family problems, or how he's anxious. And it's like you go in with high energy and you try to contribute to the conversation, you try to have fun, you try to just chill with your mates, and he instantly brings the energy down. Now, initially, I felt a bit sorry for him. I was like, poor guy, he's got family problems, his mum and dad don't love him or something. And I was like, I'll help him. And weeks go by, months go by, and all the advice that I tell him to do, he doesn't do. And he constantly just exhibits this sad, low behaviour. And I didn't realise it at first, but me as like a recovering introvert, as someone who didn't really do well in social scenarios 4 or 5 years ago, I was actually thinking, I've actually made decent progress in my social life. I've made decent progress in how I talk to people, in charm, in communication, in social skills. But ever since I started hanging out with him, and he was my best friend at the time, I felt like I was losing all the progress that I made. And the more and more I looked into myself retrospectively, I kind of started seeing I was becoming more like this dude, unsocial, tired, constantly just negative, and I felt like I was regressing back into my social shell, right? And weirdly, me helping him got me hooked. I was like, oh, my moral superiority, I'm helping this guy, he's getting better, I'm helping him. It was addictive. It was giving me this false notion that I was progressing my social life, that I was doing something good for someone else. Until I found out that he was doing it to practically every other person in his life as well. I was talking to a mutual friend, he was like, bro, he's just so depressed all the time. I told him to do something, he doesn't do it. And I was like, wait, I told him to do that same thing as well. He didn't do it. And that's when I knew he was doing this on purpose. He was an energy vampire. Energy vampires, similar to vampires, they prey on the weak. They're vermin. These people should be treated like such. Now, energy vampires, they go and prey on the people who are not socially confident, introverted. And it's a trap that many people fall into for the same reason I mentioned. It makes someone feel like they're doing good for somebody else. But in reality, these energy vampires are very insecure about themselves. They feel like they're not good enough. And they want to up someone else on the social ladder. So they go and prey on the weak. They prey on the people who are compassionate and want to help other people, just so that they can drain all the energy from them and leave them for dead, while also being one step ahead on the social ladder. These people do not want to add to your life. They want to take away from your life. Why? Because they are insecure and they want to feel like that they are worth something. And they don't do that by adding value to themselves or adding value to the world around them. No, because that requires effort. These animals are lazy and they want to drag someone else down with them. So I'm going to tell you 4 specific signs that I've seen in quote-unquote energy vampires. So if you see this, you run for the hills and you just let them shrivel up and die, basically. You do not entertain this. 1, they try to gain your sympathy, and that's when the game starts. Like I said, it makes you feel euphoric, makes you feel like you're helping someone. You know, in these Dracula movies, right? In these vampire flying emo movies, where they just bite their victim, and the victim feels all euphoric, and they just keep going back to the vampire because it feels so good. That is what energy vampires do. These people get you hooked with sympathy for them. And what do they do with all that care and attention and the advice and the good things that you tell them to do? They disregard it. They completely disregard it. And they stay in a state of disrepair. Why do they do that? Because if they stay in a state of disrepair, you're constantly giving them care and attention. They constantly gain. So why would they want to improve themselves? Slowly but surely, especially if you're an introvert, especially if you're someone who does struggles to make friends or don't really talk to many people, and you come into the clutches of energy vampire, you will see that your life seems a lot unstimulated. It seems a lot sad. Everything feels a bit low. You're not happy anymore. So when you see these signs, run for the hills. You basically know better than a slave to a vampire. You're their permanent food source. And as soon as you want to get out, they try to guilt trip you. They say, I need you. I get random calls or random texts. I need you, bro. I need this, bro. I need that, bro. I'm going to hurt myself, bro. Let them do what they want. It's none of your business. You look after yourself. The second red flag when it comes to energy vampires is that they have nothing going for them. They have zero meaning in their life. They're not good at anything. They just wallow in their little caves waiting for some poor soul to go past. And especially when they see someone who's popular or ambitious, or they are doing something with their lives, these kind of people, they hook on. They try to gain their favor because they don't want to get any sort of value for themselves. They want to get passive value from hanging out with that popular, ambitious, or hardworking person. Or they just crawl around trying to find some sort of value from all their lives. They try drinking, they try girls, they try this, they try that. Because nothing works because they refuse to fix their inside. And also what you will see, along with following around popular people, he'll have the person, or they will have the person who they're feeding off, follow them around like a dog. And it makes them feel like that they're superior. And it makes them feel like they're superior, and then they are one step ahead of us. And it makes them feel like they're a bit superior than the other person. They have some sort of value. And this is what I saw happening to that mutual friend. And he was the kind of guy who was okay being second best. And perfect combo, really, right? So he was just following this guy around wherever he went and doing what he said, acting like him, doing him favors. And at the same time, this energy vampire would completely ridicule and humiliate this guy. But he still stuck around. Euphoria, addiction. Third sign you're dealing with an energy vampire, and that is they belittle your achievements. Their compliments always seem half-hearted. It feels like that they didn't want you to succeed, and of course they don't want you to succeed because they're petrified that you will get better than them and you will one-up them. So they're constantly trying to drag you down. Diminish your achievements because they're so scared of being overtaken. And this is best seen when you ask them for help. They will not help you whatsoever, or even if they do try to help you, it will be all half-hearted. It will be like they get half of the job done. As soon as they require help, they hope for the moon and the world and everything. Fourth sign you're dealing with an energy vampire. These people tend to be in the drama, right? All in the drama, in the center of attention. They have so many ex-friends, they have so many ex-partners, right? And you got to ask at one point, if so many people don't like this person, if so many relationships are messed up, clearly this guy is the problem. And they do this very intentionally because they want to feed off that issue. They feed off that drama that they create. Energy vampires are like normal vampires. They hate the light. They operate in the shadows. They operate in the grey. They operate with manipulation and passive aggressiveness. And you kill an energy vampire. Don't actually kill an energy vampire. You deal with an energy vampire by operating in the light. You never go and play their game with their passive aggressiveness and their rumors and their manipulation. Don't do that. Just call them out straight to their face. Just be very blunt, very direct, operate in the light, and they'll just crawl back into their shadows. Because they are so scared of being found out. Because if everybody finds out that they're an energy vampire, he has been cut off from all the food sources. He's going to be neglected completely, and he's going to be alone for the rest of his life. So that is what you're going to do when you come across an energy vampire. Trust me, bro, they're not worth your time. They're not worth your compassion. They're not worth your help. These people, just leave them to rot. Otherwise, they will take years off your life, completely destroy your sanity and your life. So, take my advice. And if you want to learn how to deal with disrespect, click that video by there. And if you want to learn something else, click that video by there. Until next time, I'll Neighbor, I'm out.